The summer I found the One Wish Willow, I became a millionaire. My best friend disappeared, and another friend was torn apart by people who loved him too much. If I had known what the tree really was, I would have left the island the moment I saw it. There were 3 of us that day: me, Daniel, and Jason. We were camping near an old lake a few towns over when we spotted a small island in the middle of the water. Sitting on top of that island was the biggest willow tree I'd ever seen. Even from the shore, something felt wrong about it. Its branches hung all the way to the ground like curtains. The leaves barely moved despite the wind, and hanging from every branch were strange wooden fruits about the size of fists. Jason immediately wanted to check it out, so we found an old canoe, paddled across the lake, and climbed onto the island. The closer we got to the tree, the stranger it looked. The fruits weren't fruit at all. They looked like wooden hearts with a seam running down the middle, almost like they were meant to be broken open. Then Daniel found the carving. Cut deep into the trunk were 3 words: "One wish only." Jason laughed. "No way." Before either of us could stop him, he grabbed one of the wooden fruits and snapped it in half. The sound it made wasn't wood. It sounded wet, like a bone breaking. Dark sap dripped onto the ground. Jason grinned. I wish every woman wanted me. Nothing happened. The island stayed silent. Daniel stared at the tree for a long moment. His mother had died from cancer 2 years earlier. I already knew what he was thinking. Before I could say anything, he broke one open too. I wish my mom was alive again. For a second, the island went completely silent. No birds, no wind, nothing. Then the sounds returned. Daniel dropped the broken fruit. The smile was gone from his face. I should have left. Instead, I looked up at all those hanging fruits and thought about my own life. My debt, my bills, my empty bank account. I grabbed a fruit. It felt strangely warm. I broke it in half. I wish I had enough money to never worry again. The branches above us rustled. Then everything was still. We left shortly after. For 3 days, nothing happened. Then I received a phone call. A lawyer informed me that an investment account had been discovered in my name. Apparently, a distant relative I'd never met had created it years ago. After taxes, I inherited nearly $2 million. I thought it was insane, but the paperwork was real. Within a month, every debt I had was gone. I bought a house, a new truck. I never had to worry about money again. At first, I thought maybe the tree wasn't cursed. Then Daniel called. It was after midnight. His voice was shaking. "She's here." I knew exactly who he meant. When I arrived, Daniel's mother was sitting at his kitchen table, alive. She looked exactly like I remembered. The same face, the same voice, the same smile. For a few weeks, Daniel was happier than I'd seen him in years. Then things started changing. His mother never slept, never ate, never left the house. Several times Daniel woke up during the night and found her standing outside his bedroom door, just watching him. One morning, he discovered mud tracked through the house. When he followed it, he found his mother standing in a dark corner. Her robe was filthy, her fingernails packed with dirt. Daniel asked where she'd been. She smiled, then quietly said, "It's cold where you left me." The next day, he visited her grave. The coffin was empty. That's when he started believing something had gone terribly wrong. Jason's wish took longer. At first, he loved it. Women flirted with him everywhere. Cashiers, waitresses, neighbors, complete strangers. Then it got worse. Women began following him home, waiting outside his work, showing up at his apartment. One night, He called me from a gas station bathroom. There were women outside the door begging him to come out. When I arrived, there were nearly a dozen of them. Some were crying, some were arguing. One was repeatedly smashing her fist against the door. The scariest part was that they looked terrified, like they knew their behavior was wrong but couldn't stop themselves. I got Jason out of there, but things only got worse. Women started appearing outside my house looking for him. 5, 10, 20 at a time. They stood in the yard for hours staring at the windows. Some tried breaking inside. Some fought each other. One woman stabbed another in a grocery store parking lot because she thought Jason had spoken to her. A week later, Jason panicked and tried to run. He made it halfway across the yard before they reached him. The police called it a mob attack. I knew better. A few days later, Daniel disappeared. The only thing left inside his house was mud. Mud on the walls, mud on the floors, mud everywhere. His mother's grave had been opened again. Beside it was a second patch of freshly disturbed earth. Daniel was never seen again. That's when I finally understood. The tree never granted wishes. It twisted them. My money came from somewhere. Daniel's mother wasn't really his mother. And whatever happened to Jason wasn't love. It was obsession. I returned to the island a year later. I needed to destroy the tree. The willow was still there, bigger than before. Its branches sagged beneath hundreds of wooden fruits. As I approached, I had one final idea. Maybe I could undo everything. Maybe I could make another wish. I pulled one of the fruits from a branch. It felt warm, alive. I pressed my thumbs into the seam. Nothing happened. I pushed harder. The fruit wouldn't break. I squeezed with everything I had. Nothing. It felt like solid steel. I grabbed a rock and slammed it against the fruit. The fruit didn't even scratch. Again and again, I tried. Nothing worked. Then I looked at the trunk, at the words carved into the bark. One wish only. The tree wasn't refusing because the fruit was strong. It was refusing because my wish had already been used. The rule was absolute. No exceptions, no second chances. As far as the tree was concerned, our bargain was complete. So I gave up. I poured gasoline across the roots, the trunk, the branches. Then I lit a flare and threw it. The willow exploded into flames. The fire spread unnaturally fast. As the fruits burned, I heard sounds coming from inside the tree. Whispers, screams, crying. Thousands of voices. The entire island seemed to shake. But I didn't stop. I stood there until the willow collapsed into burning ash. By sunrise, nothing remained. For the first time in years, I felt safe. I moved away, started over, tried to forget. And eventually, I almost did. 4 years later, on the same day, Daniel disappeared. I drove by the same island again, where it all started, and came to a complete stop, shocked in fear. A massive corporate facility now covered the entire island. Fences, security towers, research buildings, private roads. And standing in the center courtyard was a willow tree, a young one, growing from the exact spot where I'd burned the original. From a nearby hill, I watched workers moving around the property. Many wore protective suits. Others carried black cases. Then I saw what they were carrying. The fruits, hundreds of them. Workers carefully clipped them from the branches and packed them into containers. Not destroyed, not hidden, harvested. The company wasn't studying the tree, they were using it. Maybe they always had. Maybe they knew about it long before we ever found the island. I drove away without looking back, because I finally understood something. The One Wish Willow was never the real danger. The real danger is that someone knows exactly what it does, and they're still handing out wishes. The wish came true, the price concealed. Some wounds are granted, never healed.